The worldview of Muammar Gaddafi while he was alive was that he was a 42-year tyrant that came to power by a bloodless coup on September the 1st, 1969. The world and official histories portrayed him as a ruthless tyrant that ruled with iron fists for 4 decades with no political parties or opposition to question his rule. Now Muammar Gaddafi, on the other hand, saw things quite differently.
So what about the people who see you as a dictator? Is that a word that you will not tolerate?
طبعا أولا هذا اللي يقولها واحد جاهل غبي قائد الثورة والثورة هي اللي خلقت سلطة الشعب لا ما هو أولا أنا ال 40 سنة هي ما نحكمش مانيش في السلطة السلطة للشعب.
Brother leader, you came to power in Libya in 1969, a long time ago. Do you have thoughts on who might succeed you?
لا أنا تركت السلطة من عام 77.
I gave up power or authority since 1977.
عندما قامت الجماهيرية قامت سلطة الشعب.
Once this Jamahiriya was established, the state of the masses was established, the people's authority was also established.
وبالتالي من ذلك الوقت وأنا خارج السلطة.
Ever since that date, I am not in power anymore.
So you are not the leader of your country?
إذا أنت ما تقودش
لا أنا قائد الثورة مش قائد البلد.
I am the leader of the revolution, not the leader of the country.
You've been in power for 40 years now, which is a very long time. Aren't you tired?
I feel more tired tonight than in the past 40 years. I have been out of power since 1977, when I gave the power to the people and the society of the masses was established. It is the people's rule. I was not assuming political or administrative burdens. The reason is that I have been out of power since 1977, when I gave the power to the people.
So here we have two opposing views, one of him as a state strongman, the other of him as a benevolent revolutionary leader. Which is right? Well, the truth, as always, is somewhere in the middle. History, true history, is never clear-cut. Real history is always murky, and in times more unreal than reality. The 3 elements required for one to be a dictator. 1. Total command over the military. 2. Total control over the media. And finally 3. Complete power over the means of production. The 3 M's. Loss of control of the military will lead to a military takeover, like what happened in Zimbabwe in 2017, or more recently, in Guinea. Loss of the media narrative will lead to what happened in Indonesia, when a man burnt himself alive that inspired the Arab Spring. Mismanagement of the means of production will lead to what happened in Egypt, with Mubarak, who later fled to his puppeteer master, Israel. Gaddafi did have dictatorial powers, which was why his first son Mohammed was head of the Olympics Committee of Libya, while only holding a computer science degree. His second son Saif was the de facto prime minister of the country. His fourth son Mutassim was a national security advisor, and his fifth son Sadi was a billionaire and military leader, along with Khamis, the last born. Gaddafi was the one that ordered the Lockerbie bombing of 1988. 2 years of the Reagan administration bombed Gaddafi's house, killing his adopted daughter, Hannah. That is why Gaddafi accepted responsibility in 2003 and paid reparations directly to the families. Gaddafi also sponsored Nicolas Sarkozy's successful presidential bid and helped place him in power. Ironically, Sarkozy would be the first European leader to recognize the NTC and help spearhead the NATO intervention against Libya. Libyan Gaddafi was not a model state, as Gaddafi implemented a socialist style of government that led to a big government state, with low wages for the common worker, a staggering 15% illiteracy rate among adults, mass corruption by Gaddafi's own sons that used state funds as their own piggy bank. Gaddafi's daughter, Aisha, was a UN Goodwill Ambassador for Libya. She as well performed a wedding ceremony befitting that of royalty, thanks to state funds. So to answer the question of whether Gaddafi was a dictator, yes, he did have dictatorial powers and used them in instances that directly affected him or his family, such as the temporal cutting of relations with Switzerland after his son Hannibal was arrested for smuggling arms. But in other cases, he delegated his power so they could take the fall in instances of wrongdoing. So in the case of any faults in the system, he could alleviate himself of any wrongdoing, which is when a vote to send all revenues directly to the accounts of poor Libyans failed, which is why the first words of Muammar Gaddafi upon his capture was, What did I do to you? One of the great mysteries of the Libyan civil war in 2011 was the murder of a prolific figure by the name of Muammar Gaddafi, a man that was captured alive but then soon ended up dead. In consideration of all the mysteries surrounding the war, such as the killing of peaceful protesters in February of 2011, the election of June of the same year, and the murder of Libyan rebel commander Yunus in July, Gaddafi's murder eclipses all these. By what means was Gaddafi killed? Who pulled the trigger? Who gave orders for the trigger to be pulled? Was it an imperialist conspiracy to get rid of a nuisance of a man? Or was it by Gaddafi's own people who rose up against him in peaceful protest? All this and more answered in this film.